in this river that I've been watching.
Tonight, we uncover the unprecedented story of a vocal prodigy who completely dismantled the modern music machine from the outside, achieving the impossible without a label. In an era where chart-topping hits are heavily manufactured in corporate boardrooms, Angelina Jordan has managed to execute one of the most stunning industry takeovers of the decade. Our investigation begins at the summit of the Billboard charts, a territory historically monopolized by multi-million-dollar marketing campaigns and heavily synthed pop anthems. Yet, for several consecutive weeks, this highly coveted position has been commanded by a fiercely independent artist, relying on nothing but raw, authentic storytelling. Industry insiders are reeling as this phenomenon contradicts every established rule of modern commercial music. How does a solo talent bypass the gatekeepers and retain the #1 spot against industry giants? The answer lies in a calculated departure from the mainstream, a daring rejection of guaranteed fame, and a deeply loyal grassroots movement. As we dissect the timeline of her historic run, you will see exactly how one artist turned the industry's greatest vulnerabilities into her ultimate advantage, proving that the public is desperate for something undeniably real. To understand the magnitude of this historic Billboard reign, we must first rewind to the blinding momentum of her early career, where the seeds of industry conflict were sown. Emerging as a viral sensation, her voice carried lifetimes of emotion, instantly capturing a global audience and catching the eye of high-powered executives. Major record labels aggressively pursued her, desperate to package her generational talent into a lucrative, easily digestible commercial product. On paper, it was the ultimate success story, a gifted youngster securing the resources of a massive entertainment conglomerate. However, our deep dive into this era reveals that the honeymoon phase was incredibly short-lived. The corporate agenda demanded a standard, radio-friendly trajectory, pushing her towards synthetic beats and away from the jazz-infused old soul magic that initially sparked her fame. Behind closed doors, the pressure mounted as executives tried to iron out her unique vocal quirks to fit a pre-existing formula. She was being positioned as the next generic pop idol, a move that would guarantee immediate revenue but ultimately strip away her profound artistic identity. This clash of visions set the stage for a spectacular departure. The tension between preserving her authentic vocal style and meeting traditional industry expectations soon reached a boiling point, leading to an incredibly risky career ultimatum. Sources close to the situation suggest that the restrictive environment became a golden cage, stifling the very creativity that made her an international phenomenon. Instead of submitting to the manufactured pop machine, she made the shocking decision to walk away from massive contracts and the ironclad guarantees of mainstream visibility. In the fiercely competitive entertainment sector, stepping away from a major label is often viewed as professional self-sabotage, an irrecoverable mistake that ends careers overnight. Rumors immediately swirled across social media platforms, with commentators speculating that irreconcilable creative differences had entirely derailed her future. For a brief period, a sudden silence fell over her commercial output, leaving millions of fans wondering if the music world had permanently lost one of its brightest stars to the relentless, grinding pressure of corporate interests. But this apparent hiatus was not a defeat. It was a highly strategic retreat designed to reclaim her complete creative autonomy. Re-emerging from the shadows, she executed a stunning independent pivot that completely bypassed traditional gatekeepers, launching a rebellion that the major labels never saw coming. Stripping away the heavy artificial production forced upon her, she leaned entirely into her authentic, timeless sound, proving that she didn't need a corporate stamp of approval. In this new era, she took complete control of her artistic direction, producing deeply personal music that resonated on a profound level. She even drew inspiration from her grandmother's poetry, crafting lyrics that offered an intimate, unfiltered look into her soul. This return was far more than a simple comeback. It was a calculated strike against the established music model. Operating without the massive financial backing of a global conglomerate, the odds were heavily stacked against her survival in a saturated market. Yet she bet everything on the belief that listeners were exhausted by synthetic, auto-tuned hits and were desperately hungering for genuine vocal artistry. By operating outside the system, she established a direct, unmediated connection with her audience, setting a dangerous precedent for the status quo. Without $1 million marketing campaign to force her music onto the airwaves, a massive organic grassroots movement ignited online, fundamentally altering the trajectory of the charts. This fan-driven phenomenon completely bypassed the traditional promotional channels, utilizing word-of-mouth and algorithm-breaking engagement to propel her independent releases. Listeners who craved real, unmanufactured talent mobilized across every digital platform, sharing her intimate tracks with an urgency that corporate money simply cannot buy. It became abundantly clear that her strategy of unwavering authenticity was paying unprecedented dividends. As her streaming numbers exploded, industry analytics platforms began flagging anomalous data. An unsigned artist was suddenly outperforming heavily backed megastars in real-time metrics. The momentum shifted from a cult following to a mainstream tidal wave, demonstrating the terrifying power of an independent artist armed with nothing but raw talent and a fiercely dedicated community. The gatekeepers were suddenly forced to watch as their meticulously crafted pop stars were eclipsed by an artist they had previously tried to control. The resulting surge became an unstoppable force, culminating in a historic breakthrough as her independent music officially seized the #1 spot on the Billboard charts. Earning this highly coveted position is a monumental feat under the best circumstances, but achieving it without a major label apparatus is an industry-shaking anomaly. When the official numbers were published, executives were reportedly left entirely speechless, unable to comprehend how their massive promotional budgets had been defeated by an old soul revival. Her triumphant arrival at the summit of the charts was a stark validation of her artistic rebellion, proving that genuine storytelling could absolutely dominate the commercial landscape. Media outlets scrambled to cover the upset, characterizing her victory as a monumental shift in the balance of power within the entertainment sector. She had successfully infiltrated the most exclusive real estate in music, not by conforming to the rules, but by rewriting them entirely. However, reaching the top was only the beginning of this incredible saga. The true test of her dominance was just about to unfold on a much larger scale. What transformed this victory from a fleeting viral moment into a permanent rewriting of music history was her incredible staying power, maintaining the #1 spot for weeks. Week after consecutive week, she fiercely held the crown, fending off heavily backed industry heavyweights who deployed massive capital to dethrone her. This extended reign at the top wasn't merely a successful run. It was an absolute, undisputed domination that shattered all preconceived notions of how independent records perform. Analysts watched in disbelief as her streaming velocity actually accelerated, driven by a compounding effect of global curiosity and unwavering fan loyalty. Every major label attempt to counter-program against her releases failed spectacularly, as the public soundly rejected synthetic alternatives in favor of her unfiltered, authentic vocals. Her sustained presence at the pinnacle of the charts fundamentally broke the algorithm, creating a feedback loop of organic discovery that corporate entities simply could not replicate or sabotage. She wasn't just surviving at the top, she was comfortably thriving, entirely on her own uncompromised terms. Back in the corporate boardrooms of the world's largest record labels, sheer panic set in as the realization of their critical misjudgment became entirely undeniable. They were forced to helplessly watch as an independent artist who championed authentic vocals over synthetic beats completely dismantled their monopoly on the Billboard charts. This unprecedented streak exposed massive systemic flaws in the traditional hit-making machine, demonstrating that audiences are no longer captive to force-fed, generic radio products. Internal memos and emergency strategy meetings reportedly swept through the industry, as executives desperately tried to reverse engineer her organic success. The realization dawned that their standard operating procedures, throwing massive capital at heavily manipulated tracks, were suddenly obsolete in the face of genuine, raw talent. By holding the line at number one, she effectively proved that the era of manufacturing stars in closed-door sessions might be approaching a rapid, catastrophic end. The balance of power had shifted directly into the hands of the artists and the audience, leaving the traditional gatekeepers entirely marginalized. This extended period of chart domination has sparked a massive cultural shift toward the soul music genre, revitalizing a sound that the modern industry had previously dismissed. By proving that an old soul aesthetic can achieve absolute commercial supremacy, she has aggressively reopened the doors for countless other authentic vocalists who refuse to compromise. Talent agencies and major labels are now frantically scrambling to locate artists who possess similar raw, unfiltered qualities, desperately trying to capitalize on the trend she organically created. However, the irony is palpable. The very industry that attempted to suppress her unique sound is now entirely obsessed with replicating it. This profound cultural impact extends far beyond mere chart statistics. It represents a fundamental recalibration of what the global audience values in its entertainment. We are witnessing a definitive rejection of superficiality in favor of deep emotional resonance. And this independent artist is the undeniable vanguard of this entire movement. Her unwavering commitment to her craft has not just changed her own life, it has altered the acoustic landscape of a generation. As we conclude this special investigative report, her weeks at the top of the charts stand as a permanent, glaring monument to the power of uncompromised artistic integrity. By walking away from a guaranteed path and navigating the treacherous waters of independence, she didn't just save her own career, she secured a lasting legacy in music history. This historic streak serves as undeniable proof that raw talent and authentic storytelling will always resonate deeper than anything a massive conglomerate can artificially fabricate. The modern music machine was tested, challenged, and ultimately defeated by a single voice that refused to be silenced or altered. If one artist can topple the entire entrenched system simply by staying fiercely true to her own identity, it poses a terrifying reality for the major labels. It makes you wonder, how many other incredible world-changing voices are out there in the shadows, just waiting to break free and completely rewrite the rules of the game? This has been a special broadcast. Thank you for joining our deep dive into the Billboard anomaly.